well planned and well scheduled, and we have a special guest who will speak on the silent revolution of chickpea in Andhra Pradesh. This seminar about chickpea in Andhra Pradesh has been looked forward to by many because we wanted really to know what's behind the adoption process and what's behind the research, development, and diffusion process, and the championing behind the scenes on enabling that chickpea will find its way in Andhra Pradesh. We have Dr. Alapati Satyanarayana. He has been a very good friend to ICRISAT. He's always been a partner since decades, for many decades now, and I'd like to give you a short introduction. Most of you know him as the last one before he retired as the Director of Extension from ANGRAU. And at that point, we all know that chickpea at the time was moving its way through Andhra Pradesh. And what we'll find, I hope, that in the seminar is that it's not only that chickpea and improved chickpea cultivars have found its way across its potential areas, the vertical areas of Andhra Pradesh, it's even gone beyond the borders of Andhra Pradesh. And I'd like to say that Dr. Satyanarayana, as the Director of Extension of ANGRAU from 2000 to 2005, before that, he was actually the Associate Director for Research at LAM and the Chief Scientist for pulses. And I understand that as a pulses breeder all his life, you know, he has produced some varieties, released them. And it's not only on pulses, but it also covered so many of these 33 varieties of pulses and even included 4 varieties of vegetables. And the championing of the diffusion process is not only with respect to chickpea, but also with respect to soybeans, with respect to, of course, I will say Rabi, red gram in Andhra Pradesh, as well as popularization of IPM strategies. I'm sure this has been also in partnership with ICRISAT's team in breeding program as well as in the IPM program, particularly in pigeon pea, groundnut, and chickpea. Now, as the Director for Extension, I think it's not only in charge of pulses, he also popularized the system of rice intensification. And as a professor, I'm sure that he has been a good student of many PhD and master's students in ANGRAU. Now, I would say that formally introducing Dr. Satyanarayana, he has been prolific in terms of his publications, producing a total of about more than 400, 167 research publications, 248 popular articles, and not including those that are used as bulletins and training manuals. Now, the revolutionization of the revolution of pulses production within the rice fallows in Andhra Pradesh is still continuing. We are exploring the fact that where the verticils are, the chickpeas are already flourishing. But even beyond that, the rice fallows have lots of potential. And I kept on asking, even in the hometown of G.V. Rangarao, in the Guntur area and Vijayawada, whether or not it will go beyond those borders. Let's see what Dr. Satyanarayana will tell us. So without further ado, let's look forward to a very interesting seminar on chickpea in Andhra Pradesh. He will be highlighting the milestones, particularly the milestones, the timeline, the step-by-step process by which this crop and improved varieties of chickpea has found its way through diffusion and adoption process, particularly how the short duration cultivars that came out using the parental lines of ICRISAT has found its way through this silent revolution. So Dr. Satyanarayana, we are honored to have you today.
Thank you very much, madam, for a very lengthy introduction. I'm really honored today to speak about this chickpea revolution, which has changed the lives of for many millions of farmers of Andhra Pradesh. With the help of ICRISAT, with the help of State Agriculture University, Department of Agriculture, above all, the understanding farmers of Andhra Pradesh are responsible for this revolution. The topic is to narrate the milestones, activity milestones that have led to this type of revolution. So milestones I have kept here because I am associated with it for almost 30 years. But the Chickpea program per se started somewhere in 1985 when I became professor pulses in Andhra Pradesh Agriculture University. Now you see, this is a publication of the leading newspaper Hindu. They bring out a annual a book on survey of Indian agriculture. Every year they bring a volume, and on this the cover page is chickpea with an Andhra farmer, a Guntur farmer, proudly showing the crop of ICCC 37. This was in 1997. That means the crop is sometime of 96 photograph. So that is the maybe a beginning of real breakthroughs. Now, if you see the production area productivity curves, somewhere in 84, 85, this was not even a minor crop. Only about 30 to 40,000 hectares. Mainly in Telangana region, a number one district used to be Medak. That means around ICRISAT. It was not a crop of Prakasham where it is a major crop. It was not a good major crop of either Karnool at that time. Now, from nowhere, from 40,000 hectares, we have come to 6.75 or 675,000 hectares. How many times you can calculate? And then productivity from nowhere around 400 kgs. Now it is over 1200, 1300 average, but the farmers get 2 tons to 2.5 tons. When you take all that, the production from 0.9 lakh tons, it has come to over 9 lakh tons. So 10 times increase in production has come. That's why it is called silent revolution. Not that because of this happened, you see chickpea everywhere in Andhra Pradesh. But chickpea is still confined to 2 major districts, the Karnool and Prakasham, with a potential to spread to Nellore and south, and also south of Karnool, Anantapur, to some extent in Kadapa, Guntur districts. Now I am foreseeing a lot of area converted from cotton to chickpea this year, because in the beginning they said a very bountiful crop of cotton, but they are not happy with it. Everybody is ending up with a loss in the crop. A farmer who was cultivating 30-40 acres of chickpea earlier abandoned chickpea and went to cotton after BT cotton. He now said this year he will go for 70 acres of chickpea next year. Now he wanted to come here today, but I don't know what he couldn't reach somehow so far. So adopting 70 acres of chickpea again from cotton is an indication that it is an easy crop, it is a profitable crop, it is a non-risky crop. So these are the 3 things we have to highlight and go to new niches to expand the area further. Now I just put this slide, everybody starts with the beginning. So I also thought what is the role of grain legumes, particularly in Indian crops husbandry. They are unique jewels of Indian crop husbandry. They are good source of protein for the cereal-rich diets. And also it acts as an animal feed. And as finally it is a soil restorative. That means the most important in the sustainability of any cropping system anywhere in the world, particularly in the tropics, legume cereal rotation is a must to sustain. But when you take the importance in the human food, the availability is going down. It's not only the chickpea, all pulses put together is only 35 grams. Against the requirement of 105 grams, we say actually half of it, because nowadays consumption of animal protein is also included into this. But the 35 grams per capita per day is less than the half the amount needed to prevent malnutrition. So there is an absolute need to increase the production. How we increase? Through productivity. How we increase? Through area increase also. But simultaneously area increase and productivity has to come to raise the production. Chickpea in Andhra Pradesh, when you talk about Andhra Pradesh, it's a major crop of India. When you take up in area, production, everything in India, number one pulse is chickpea. But in Andhra Pradesh, it is number one now in terms of both area production, productivity. But till 1985, it was not even a minor crop. Means nobody knows this crop. It is also cultivated in Andhra Pradesh. This because we were all thinking, the notion even in the textbooks is, chickpea is a cold loving crop and it comes up well in northern India only, north of India chal. Because of short winters in Andhra Pradesh, terminal moisture stress and heat, because even by middle of January the temperatures start rising here, wilt and dry root rot diseases as biotic stresses, helicobacter as biotic stress. These were the constraints why the chickpea yields were so low, and the chickpea varieties were also not many. But we have the potential in Andhra Pradesh is free from fungal diseases, foliar fungal diseases. In northern India or other parts of the world, ascochyta blight, botrytis are deadly diseases, completely destroys the crop. Whereas in Andhra Pradesh, if you take, maybe in Karnataka also, we have no disease as far as the foliar fungal diseases are concerned. Only fungal diseases are wilt and dry root rot. For wilt, we have good number of genotypes. For dry root rot, we have to explore further. Less vegetative growth and it responds to high input. The same input, high fertilizer or irrigation is given to the same crop in northern India, the crop lodges. But whereas in south, it responds. There is a positive curve. So that is another scope for increasing yields through management. Farmers cultivate it like a commercial crop, no more a neglected crop, unlike other pulses otherwhere in the country. It's not in a sustenance crop, but it is a commercial crop here. That means it's a livelihood. It adds to the family income, and the family economy is based on the crop. Easy to grow and less labor. This is all another thing which when we visited villages, farmers, they were telling, we will cultivate this crop only, though for the last 2 years we have lost the crop, only because it is easy to grow and less dependence on labor, easy to adopt so much of mechanical things into it. Except mechanical harvest, mechanization is feasible. So far, we have to work on the mechanical harvest also. Now about me, which Dr. Ventilan has said very lengthy. I just want to say I retired as Director of Extension, but I am a plant breeder. I am a plant breeder with a gold medal and first at ARS exam. Why I am telling it proudly is you have to understand what is the breeder's perception in adoption process. That's why I was actually a vegetable breeder at IIHR. That's why some of my varieties are vegetables, but again a leguminous breeder only. So I have continued from IHR to Agriculture University as a pulse breeder, became chief scientist in pulses as ADR at LAM. Then finally as a director of extension. That means a breeder becoming director of extension, how adoption processes can change and compared to an extension man becoming extension director and vice versa. I was given the responsibility of all the legumes grown in the state to improve all the legumes, not one. As a result, there are a number of pulses, particularly mung bean, urdu bean used to be the major, followed by pigeon pea and chickpea. Chickpea was the minor. We used to have other also like horse gram, cowpea, the minor, which we have one more called Dolichus field bean also, we call Anamulu. These are some of the other legumes, but responsibility of the principal scientist pulses was all the legumes in the state. Since all the legumes simultaneously to start a breeding program, to improve the crop and to go for the development in the state is practically impossible with the available manpower or infrastructure of the State Agriculture University. So I chose to be a good collaborator, active collaborator with ICRISAT for pigeon pea and chickpea. And ever since 1982. I have been very active in sharing the breeding material, in testing the breeding material, in exchanging the breeding material, and finally when it is tested, releasing them, adopting them. So my collaboration is there in both the crops equally. The areas of collaboration includes mainly breeding material, which includes germplasm also, varietal trials, and early planting. This one thing only related to chickpea. I will explain about this later. Integrated pest management. Dr. Angarao is here. We have, though I am a leguminous breeder means grain legume breeder, I collaborated with him even with the chickpea IPM, groundnut IPM, then chickpea IPM and pigeon pea IPM. On-farm trials, conferences, breeding meetings. I used to be always here, I think, with any meeting, and then either to express my views, to give a seminar, or to be a participant. Literature support, and those days internet was not there, so I used to get all the published literature from ICRISAT, most of it. That's why I said literature support. And I am a resource person to ICRISAT on rice-based cropping systems. I went as a resource person through ICRISAT to Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka on rice-based cropping systems, particularly mung bean, urd bean in rice fallows. Now the trigger point. How the trigger point came? We used to conduct a lot of chickpea trials, chickpea adoption trials of ICRISAT, ICR trials, and scientists from ICRISAT used to monitor. And we used to come here, see the breeding material, breeders' meets and all. It's a reciprocative. So during 1984-85, Dr. Smithson, he was the chickpea principal breeder those days, he visited land to see the trials. He saw the trials. He was happy with the trial. Then we were discussing about our other programs. When I was discussing about my programs, he showed interest to see the rice fallow area. The black gram grown, the urd bean grown under rice fallows. So next morning I took him to the area. We were driving for the 4-5 hours, and the entire area was black gram. No other crops. But that means entire Krishna Western Delta rice area of 1.8 lakh hectares is covered with black gram in Rabi season. So he said, how long you will take me? Yes, sir, as long as we drive today and tomorrow also. That is the area here. Then he remarked, when are you showing me a chickpea area like this? Because he is interested in chickpea. And a point which was put way back in 1985 is still lingering in my mind. That means when I started working on rice fallows, the then Director of Research and later Vice Chancellor, Dr. Apparao, told me one thing when I joined Agriculture University, that I am giving you pulses breeder post here, putting you at LAM. You have to show me improvement in rice fallow pulses. That was the tag given while I joined. So I took all of my experiments right in the farmers' fields only, because RARS LAM has no rice area to work on rice fallow pulses. So I took land on lease in the farmers' area and worked that clicked, and as a result of that, from 2.7 lakh hectares, the black gram has become 5.3 lakh hectares, almost double. A product and productivity have gone like 4 times, 5 times, particularly production. And that is, everybody knows the black gram revolution in rice fallows in the country of Andhra Pradesh. So when he asked after 5 years of that when are you showing chickpea like this, like rice fallow black gram? Again, my mind got triggered. That means people are looking for it. So how to work on that is one of my, it has become an agenda for my all types of developmental activity. So more and more collaboration started with ICRISAT, only pointed approach. Where can I put more area with what type of varieties? Before 1985, varieties tested and coordinated trials were mixed types. Some are long duration types, some don't flower, some flower but won't set pod because of heat in the terminal areas. That's why we were never used to give even a proper data under All India coordinated program. Local land races and selection from land races were only under cultivation. They were either called Jyoti or Gulabi is a question mark. Everybody, whenever you go, ask what variety are you going. All Desi type, they simply say Gulabi. So don't get a typical Gulabi into that Gulabi. They are poor yielders and wilt susceptible. As a result, plant stand establishment was very poor, yields were very poor. Annegiri was just started introduced at that time, and Annegiri, by virtue of its moisture stress tolerance, it started getting adopted. So this is a point of time Annegiri started getting adopted in Andhra Pradesh. That is by 1985. To avoid terminal moisture stress and heat, these 2 points, abiotic stresses, were identified as a constraint. So what were we doing? We start, why not we plant chickpea early? Instead of putting them somewhere late in the middle of November to late in the November, why not we put late in October? But we came up to planting even late in September, so that the crop terminates before the temperatures go high. Dr. C.L.L. Gowda, your director, he is instrumental in bringing out this idea and plant chickpeas in the late September. This particular practice is still in vogue in Kurnool district because they don't receive much of northeast monsoon. So to sustain from moisture stress, they still grow very early, which has another problem that is coming up with early planting is at the time of flowering, heavy dew leading to flower drop and even sometimes abortion of the pods doesn't have seed or ill-filled seed. This is a problem which farmers have even posed to us during last week visit to Kurnool district. That means when you plant very early, flowering is getting caught in the heavy dew is also causing another abiotic stress, which we have to see either resistance to that or further testing of new genotypes planting in the normal times. Then breeding work initiated to develop early maturing varieties, particularly wilt resistant early maturing varieties, because this was another constraint that was we have ICRISAT also started working on this, and we have in collaboration with ICRISAT released 2 varieties in 89 in Andhra Pradesh, that is ICCC 37 Kranti Desi type and ICCV2 Swetha Kabuli type. The first Kabuli for south. Before that, we were not even thinking of cultivation of Kabuli grams in South India. This is about Kranti, short duration, resistant to wilt. It is also to a great extent tolerant to dry root rot, medium board seed. But it doesn't have that tolerance to moisture stress like Annegiri. So it was to compete, it has to compete with it. Annegiri, though susceptible to wilt. Wilt is not a very big problem in Andhra. Even now, wilt is not a problem. Our problem is a dry root rot. When you come to Swetha, Kabuli type, it is much shorter in duration, even 80 to 85 days. Adapted to normal dates of sowing or even late sowings. Even under late sowings, I think it is now showing podding even under high temperatures also. It's called medium bold, I said small seed, small to medium. But at that time, K850, like Kabuli is also short, so small. So it was accepted, and Kabuli has itself a premium market, so it was accepted by the farmers. And the first Kabuli for the tropical climate. So these are the 2 hits from ICRISAT. Now initial adoption process and impact. What is the impact of these 2 varieties? The impact is dramatic. The increase from 40,000 has come to 1.6 lakhs, 2.2 lakhs. Like that each year, a jump of 40 to 50,000 hectares started coming. Production growth rate is 16%. Productivity almost doubled from 400 to 800 kg per hectare. And Kabuli chickpea became a reality. These are the initial impact that are shown after the release of ICC 37 and ICCV 2. And this started replacing tobacco, sorghum, korra, parle millet, sunflower, cotton, and also even a highly commercial crop of Andhra Pradesh, chilies in rotation. Any other crop grown after chilies, because of the heavy nutrients given to chili crop, they put excessive vegetative growth in Andhra Pradesh. But chickpea, when grown after chilies is highly productive. Actually, a 16 quintal per acre yield was recorded in Andhra Pradesh when a farmer has grown chickpea after chilies. That is the type of management they do, and the soil fertility level when high. This crop responds to inputs in Andhra Pradesh, but the same crop, if you go to north, more the inputs we put, lodging and other problems starts. At this time, we grabbed an opportunity. There was a problem of tobacco marketing, particularly tobacco grown on black soils. There were lots of stocks left. Government has decided to stop growing tobacco for a year. So we call it a crop holiday. When tobacco was given a crop holiday, the government of Andhra Pradesh put me a responsibility that I had to prepare alternate crops to tobacco, because tobacco is grown in a number of farming situations throughout the state in over 1.6 lakh hectares. It is grown on light soils. It is grown on light soils with irrigation. It's grown on black soils. It's grown on even saline soils. When it is grown on many different southern soils, northern soils, southern light soils, northern light soils. I'll narrate further. When they asked me to prepare alternate crop, it's not just a crop to replace another crop. We have to see, when you talk about an alternate crop, we have to see the farming situation. What is the farming situation under which the crop is grown? That means the soil, the rainfall pattern, the irrigation given, the season, all these come under farming situation. When the farming situation based crops were given, I gave for black soil rain-fed chickpea and maize. So similarly, depending on the soil, the light soil or black soil or irrigated or rain-fed or the northeast rainfall or southwest rainfall predominant areas, the entire cropping plans given by me were successful. Just imagine if 1.6 lakh hectare area, that means about 4 lakh acres of area, and government took a decision not to grow tobacco and grow for alternate crop. If alternate crop fails, what would have happened? It is a collapse of the government. So when the responsibility was given to me, I was really careful in making this. Until such time, nobody prepared a cropping plan based on farming situation. It's not today also. Many people think there is a crop cotton and it failed. You go alternative. What is alternative of cotton? There is no crop alternative to a crop. There is an alternative crop for the soil and the situation. Most eventful as far as the chickpea spread is concerned, because chickpea was suggested for the black soil area, rain-fed area, particularly to the area in Prakasham, where southeast monsoon is also very important in contributing to the rainfall. So in general, Andhra Pradesh, in particular Prakasham and Kurnool districts, this took and most eventful, and that's why I say we grabbed the opportunity. And it so happened it was me who was asked to prepare the cropping plans, so it has come into the plan and we were benefited. Chickpea was recommended as one of the alternative crop to tobacco based on the farming situations. Since I have prepared this on the basis of the farming situations, later I have developed farming situation based cropping plans for all the 1106 mandals of the state. This document is now available, a copy of which we have already given to the unit. Anybody wants can take this free, and you can, by sitting from here, you can see what is the soil type, what are the crops grown now, what could be the better alternative, how much of area is present in a particular situation, and all information is documented. And chickpea started replacing commercial crops. So this is the opportunity grain, and this is the one which has resulted from nowhere to this point, and from this point to further how to proceed to sustain the momentum. Further high yielding varieties and technologies were needed. Dr. Van Reen, the principal chickpea breeder after Smithson, initiated a network program, means by which time a number of short duration high yielding varieties were developed by ICRISAT. But these varieties need to be cultivated. So he has identified different research stations in different states. For central zone, Akola, Jabalpur, Sihor. For south zone, Lam, Coimbatore, Gulbarga were identified to test as a multi-location testing of the genotypes developed at ICRISAT along with the varieties developed by the respective centers. I tell you, Lam, Coimbatore, Gulbarga has not given anything out yet. Nothing has come out of those group of varieties. Maybe other than the same ICC 37 was coming on the top. But Akola, Jabalpur, Sihor has thrown out number of genotypes. What we were doing is when the genotypes were identified, these genotypes were tested, the top genotypes were tested against all the locations, that irrespective of the zone. That has resulted in identifying JG-11 for south zone. But the network program led to the identification of Desi JG-11, Jaki 9218, Saki, I forgot the number, Nandyal 1, KAK-2, Vihar, JKG-1. Now you are seeing that number of genotypes. All these genotypes were developed at ICRISAT only. This one, they may be different names, they may say it has come from different centers, but ICRISAT, when they give the variety, has the freedom, though I adopted ICC 37 as ICC 37 when I released it, but other people have kept their own names. That's why don't mistake that these are the genotypes developed elsewhere. But popularization of these varieties, though identified by different centers, was limited to the areas of its identification. They were not spreading beyond. So we have identified genotypes, but the spread was not possible. So what was the point is, the takeoff point here, I tell you, I was director of extension by then. I was no more a breeder, active plant breeder at that time. I am not even collaborating much with ICRISAT either, because I am coming as a director of extension for some meeting or other like what I am coming now, but not an active plant breeder by that time. My place also shifted from Guntur to Hyderabad. But the area is increasing. Farmers want more varieties. Sustain the growth, farmers need new varieties. What to do? Since I know the network program and the network program's outcome, what I did was, I asked all the centers including ICRISAT, Jabalpur, Akola, my own university, pooled varieties, about 18 Desi and 14 Kabulis, 36 varieties, and put in 3 on-farm trials in farmers' fields. It was conducted just like a research station trial. Each variety in a strip with coriander in between the strips. So 13 varieties in strips. It used to look like an experiment, and it has attracted farmers also into the farmers' fields. And this particular on-farm test done under farmers' fields has attracted farmers, and farmers realized that these experiments are conducted under their own farming situation, so they are useful. So that way their mental makeup also has changed. As a result, these were conducted voluntarily by those 3 farmers. Only guidance was given by me. 1 kg seed of each genotype was supplied. That means 3 to 4 kgs of the seed was supplied from the source the varieties was developed. So you suppose out of the 36 varieties, ICRISAT contribution itself is more than 18. And all the seed, 18 into 4 kg seed was given to me from the ICRISAT. And no financial assistance from any source. This I have put this sentence because some people ask under which scheme or project we have worked this. The outcome is JG-11 among Desi, KAK-2 among Kabulis, ranked first at all the 3 locations. Though Jaki, Vishal, Nandyal 1 in Desi, Vihar, ICCV 95334, it is yet to take off, LB is 7. They were also good in the test. Only we tried to popularize first only JG-11 and KAK-2, because we don't want to create confusion with the number of genotypes to the farmers. For example, there used to be LAM BEG3, which is nothing but the JG-11 only. The LBEG7 is nothing but KAK-2 only as far as the original genotype is concerned. So we don't want to confuse the people with more and more genotypes by we can say piracy. So what I wanted to do is only popularize JG-11 among Desi and KAK-2 on Kabulis. JG-11 again, though it takes 110 days in Madhya Pradesh, it matures in 95 to 100 days in Andhra Pradesh. Seed size is medium bold or almost bold. Yields also very high, 8 to 10 quintal per hectare, but average yield may be around 18 to 20. Semi-spreading in habit, early maturing, low in anthocyanin, light brown seed, bold seed. It is suitable both for rain-fed and also for irrigated conditions. So since it has so much of flexibility, it went everywhere. Whereas KAK-2 Kabuli, till such time Kabuli was in a very minor crop. Not many people were growing our ICCV2. But when KAK-2 was introduced first time, it was released in 2000 in Maharashtra, but we conducted the trial in 2002. And it is also a short duration, just like JG-11, same duration. Large seed, 37 grams per 100 seed, resistant to Fusarium wilt, and Kabuli became reality. With this, I tell you another development is they got some Kabuli, very bold seed, maybe from Turkey, came as a grain to south, and people grabbed that variety and started growing in south. And it's being a bold, they have put as bolt as a name. Being a high premium price, that means $1, 45 rupees per kg at that time, they started calling it as dollar, variety dollar. It's only a, nobody released this variety, but it went like that to name. And now many farmers grow that crop for that particular variety for its premium price. So in those cases, I think our ICCL 95334 or even a bolder variety, if in that, should take lead and to replace that particular variety. When these two varieties were identified, then how to spread them? Chickpea is a high seed rate. We require higher seed rate. Farmers use much more seed rate than the recommended one, but the seed multiplication ratio is low. So that means if we get small quantities of breeder seed into the seed production cycles to start with, it may take a number of years to get an impact. Large quantities of breeder seed, over 200 quintals of JG-11 from Jabalpur and KAK-2 from Akola were arranged. Means we channelized. And no farmer funding for breeder seed either. We encouraged big farmers and also seed producers to multiply the seed. That is how seed has become easy source for them. In 2 years' time, the spread was visible. Simultaneously, at that time, ICRISAT produced large quantities of breeder seed and supplied small quantities to large number of farmers. This has an indirect effect of spread from farmer to farmer that made JG-11 spread a reality. APSS Desi also entered in seed multiplication at a later stage, but they do see that large quantity of JG-11 is available. Farmers started looking for more and more new varieties. See, every time it is there, always when you ask for, when a variety is spread, they ask for a new variety. And they started growing by themselves. Jackie 9218, Nandyal 1. Nandyal 1 particularly for its moisture stress behavior among Desis, and Vihar and dollar among Kabulis. And in place of this bold or dollar, I think there is tremendous scope for a real formal variety, a bold variety into that, like 95334. I was the director of extension at that time. So I used my good office, used my district agriculture extension centers, we used to call DAT centers, and also KVKs, to simultaneously go for all extension activities on one crop, that is popularization, demonstration, exposure visit, literature support, media, particularly electronic media, training programs, seed supply. When you use all of them simultaneously, then the impact is visible. So, as a university extension program, we started all of them on farm demonstration, seed exchange, training programs, success stories, publications, popular articles, organizing field days, IPM practices, particularly I have no words to compliment Dr. Rangarao. He has put Anjaya for 3 years continuously at Gottipadu village in Guntur for 2 months, that is the entire cropping period, producing NPV locally, training locally how to produce NPV and use without using chemicals. They were able to successfully see that the village produces 1.98 lakh larval equivalent of NPV in 1 year. This is Gottipadu village. Then JG-11 played a dominant role in Chickpea Revolution. 5-fold increase in area from 1.2 lakh hectares. That means at the time of start of JG-11, we were at that point. Present it is 6.75 lakh hectares. Now this figure is for 2008. Productivity doubled from 750 to 1468 kg per hectare. Andhra Pradesh is the first state to show over 1 ton productivity per hectare. 10-fold increase in production from 90,000 tons to 9.37 lakh tons. JG-11 alone singly occupied 75% area. So it is time that we celebrate for JG-11 and then give some prize, some award for the breeders who developed this variety in the country. Then changes in technology. What is happening? Adoption technologies. Farmers started using very high seed rate to achieve good plant stand. This is one of the reasons if you go to any pulse crops, we say pulse crops, they don't seldom have optimum plant stand. High input use, particularly fertilizer use, plant protection against insects, both chemical in a big way and also IPM, mechanization in chickpea cultivation, tractors for land preparation, seed cum fertilizer drills, tractor mounted sprayers. Nobody goes in a manual way. And threshers have come, but they are looking very keen with harvesters also. Cold storage. No farmer also goes to the field on either walking or cycle. Now everybody goes by motorcycle, chickpea farmer. So that is another mechanization that has come into that. Now these are only some of the IPM, bird purchase, intercropping with coriander, then traps. NPV I couldn't show because it's not possible here to show. The award received for this kind of work. King Baudouin Award for ICRISAT in 2002 for the team. I think highest award. Doran Margaret Marshall Distinguished Achievement in 2002. In 1999 also, same award came for IPM on groundnut. Hooker Award was given to me in 99. 97 award was given to me in 99. ISPRD Award, the Pulses National Award in 1994. So these are the awards which include the contribution towards Chickpea Revolution in Andhra Pradesh. Whereas Hooker, this ISPRD Award also includes my black gram contribution also. The persons behind Chickpea Revolution in AP. I read Dr. Smithson, though he is not present or in the ICRISAT when the revolution really started happening, but the root, that is the point or he imbibed in me was, when are you showing chickpea crop like black gram and rice pulse to me in Andhra Pradesh. Dr. Van Reenen for the network program of plant breeding, which has resulted in high yielding varieties, whether it is released by different universities or by ICRISAT, because ICRISAT by itself is not releasing varieties nowadays. So all those genotypes were identified through that network program. Dr. Jagdish Kumar to develop the first short duration varieties, including the short duration Kabuli. Then Dr. Gowda, CLL Gowda for early planting of short duration genotypes. Dr. PM Gaur for his excellent support once the genotypes tested, the multiplication, and showing ways for the new genotypes. Dr. G.V. Rangarao for the IPM on chickpea. Myself, Dr. S.K. Rao is the Dean JNKV Jabalpur for the breeder seed support. Dr. H.S. Yadav is the Director Research from Agriculture University, Gwalior, the man behind identifying JG-11. Now, what are the characters based on all our experience? What are the new characters or the characters that should be looked into to develop further varieties? We should look for a variety which has fast initial growth because the growing period is short. All legumes in general have initial growth poor. So we should look for those genotypes which have fast initial growth, short duration, tolerance to moisture stress, tolerance to heat at the time of podding stage. Just like we already identified JG-14 from ICRISAT, their trials indicated its podding is not affected with high temperatures. A tall erect canopy with long fruiting branches, because mechanical harvest is one of the need of the hour. Resistance to wilt we have, but coupled with dry root rot disease. Bold seed, good quality, high yield, they are required for adoption, so that when adoption takes place, we can stabilize and expand to new areas. So, to sustain the growth, 12th 5-year plan targets are already announced. I don't know how many of us have seen it. Andhra Pradesh, the target fixed is 10 lakh hectares of area. Now we are only around 6.75 lakh hectares. How to jump over more than 3 lakh hectares by 2016 to 17. This need to be discussed, and this is the area where I want to say we have to enter into rice fallows. Rice fallow to start with go into light soil areas, not with deltaic alluvium soils, north coastal Andhra Pradesh. Yesterday, while coming, I saw large area which I never saw between Kanchikicharla and Nandigama in Krishna district with vast stretch of chickpea, which I never saw. That was originally a black soil tobacco area. All these years they were struggling with black gram, green gram, maize, all other crops. But this year I have not seen any other crop. And also lot of area which used to come under rice due to non-release of water through Nagarjuna Sagar, they also went to chickpea. So when rice fallow area, we have more than 40 lakh hectares in Andhra Pradesh, and majority of it is grown in Telangana in particular under bore wells. When the power is in short supply, irrigation water is in short supply through dams, if chickpea is projected to those areas, I think farmers and the government will grab the opportunity with both hands. So what we have to do is, we have to see that chickpea is a potential crop in that system. Area increase based on farming situation, this need to be analyzed. We have to go carefully when you go to a new area, whether that area is suitable for chickpea or not. Otherwise, our efforts will become futile. Expand area in rice fallows, develop further high yielding varieties, particularly with a tall type of habit in mind, so that we should think of mechanical harvest also. Popularize heat tolerant varieties like JG-14. It's not JG-14 alone, any other genotype we develop now for late sowings, because there is a lot of area under seed production of kharif crops, for example jute, which is harvested sometime in December and left fallow. And if we have genotypes for January planting and December planting in chickpea, that means when it comes to maturity, when the temperature start pushing up sometime in end of February, March, and it can produce yield. If not 10 quintal, what farmers are looking, even 6-7 quintal, we get tremendous area increase if we develop heat tolerant varieties. Develop varieties suitable for mechanical harvest. Overcome the constraint of dry root rot disease. This is the problem, I tell you, in Andhra Pradesh. the more and more of continuous cropping of this, more and more problem of dry root rot. And we don't have either successful a management practice to overcome this. Farmers doesn't want to go out of chickpea in rotation, because when I asked some old farmers, don't grow this crop after crop, particularly Kabuli, you end up with dry root rot. Then he said immediately, sir, do not recommend us not to grow chickpea, because we are happy with chickpea, we want to grow with chickpea. I said, I want to be happy with chickpea, that's why I don't want you to go continuously with it. At least a part of your area should go in rotation. Continue on-farm research. And this is the only way, even if you do rice fallow chickpea or chickpea in other areas, new areas. For example, Nellore. Nellore is south of Prakasham. It also receives very high rainfall during northeast monsoon. Sowings have to take place only in December or late December. But there is so much of area, they are struggling with green gram and black gram. And both with chickpea they can take in both hands. So those are the places where we have to put on-farm trials. We have to put on-farm trials in such areas, on-farm trials in late sowing after kharif seed production of jute, on-farm trials with rice fallows. Ensures quality seed supply. We encourage either farmer to farmer or farmer seed cooperatives or formal seed multiplication cycles, but see that the seed of any variety, for example, JG-14, we want to spread more. We have to again repeat what we have done in case of JG-11. Establish or encourage processing industries in chickpea growing areas, so that immediate market, immediate employment potential in the location. These two help farmers to continue or retain themselves in the crop. Educate on sustainable agriculture practices. The last sentence I have used because now they are going to exploitative agriculture even with chickpea in Andhra Pradesh. When the recommendation is 25 kg to 30 kg seed rate, farmers adopt 55 kg to 60 kg per acre. When the recommendation is 1 bag, that is 50 kg DAP, there are farmers who put 4 bags, 200 kg DAP per acre. These are exploitative, which are not what is sustainable. They lead to soil salinity and other problems. So we need to go on it, sustainable agriculture practices for seed rate, plant stand adoption, nutrient applications, plant protection measures, particularly IPM. When you do all these things, I think whatever we are thinking of sustain growth will be achieved. So with this, I just show a slide, potential spread. This is based on the soil types only is given. And wherever black soil is there, automatically it grows. Wherever we have rice, it grows automatically. Wherever we have late sown potential, it grows. But by seeing the today's small pockets, we should not get discouraged. How this is only a small area? Yes, Andhra Pradesh is a vast state. 6 lakh hectares is nothing in the state. Even 10 lakh hectares, which government projects for the 12th 5-year plan, is also not much, because we have 100 lakh hectares of 40 lakh hectares of rice. Even if the rice is marked, you see only along the coast of the rice belt and little bit in Telangana where it is grown on well irrigation. So when the area is tremendous, we grow from 1 to 2 is 100%, from 10 to 20 is 100%, but from 10 to 10,000, that is what one should expect. So to grow that area, so particularly go for the north coast areas where you have a lot of potential for under laterite soils where rice is grown, and then in Telangana region where rice is grown on light soils. But rice grown light soils are not just Salka soil type. There is some sedimentation of silt. That's why they don't look like that bad in for growing crops, and then they can give also a supplemental irrigation. That's why under rice fallows of Telangana is a very important farming situation. Nellore district black soil and late soil is a potential. Black soils of Krishna district now are coming in, and then competing with cotton is another area, which is a difficult task, but farmers have repeatedly proved that the net profit is more with chickpea, not with the BT cotton. This you are going to see when you come next month to Guntur. Two farmers very close to our own research area. One farmer has grown 170 acres of chickpea, other farmer 26 acres. Both are expecting over 10 quintal, 12 quintal per acre in average of that whole area. When we account and work out the economics of that and then the economics of the BT cotton farmers in the same area, these farmers are much better in terms of net returns. So we have to project that, publish that, popularize that, educate on them so that they come to at least in rotation for cotton. And once cotton crop comes under rotation with chickpea, cotton area is 23 lakh hectares in Andhra Pradesh. Even if 25% of that comes under rotation, we have something like 5 lakh hectares. The target is there. So with this, I put before you my views. Now, I narrated what all happened over the last 2 to 3 decades. It's not a one person or one man contribution. The mega contribution is from the Mega Institute of ICRISAT only, because no genotype is from outside. You don't think that Satyanarayana has developed, Satyanarayana has only used the genotypes. JG-11 developed Jabalpur, no, JG-11 is identified by them for that high yielding variety. To that extent, yes. Then JG-11 seed they produced, yes, we will give the potential. That's why I gave the contribution to both S.K. Rao and Yadav. But the potential goes only the breeders, Dr. Gaur and B.V. Rao are here, and earlier Smith's son, Van Ryn and Jagdish Kumar, and C.L.L. Gowda, Angarao, many people whom I worked have contributed their might, and everybody, I tell you, worked as if it is their state, as if it is their farm, as if the farmer is their domain. So I am happy that I am associated with ICRISAT all these years on this, and I derived benefit both personally and also to the Andhra farmers. I thank one and all who have collaborated with me very actively in doing my bit of job. Thank you very much.